guys, it's Shelby, otherwise known as Shelbizleee here on YouTube, and today I am going to be making a video that a lot of you guys have been requesting, and that's going to be covering some more eco-friendly / zero waste swaps you can make for going back to school. So if you are going back to grade school, elementary school, university, or even if you're just a working professional and you are looking to get some more sustainable office supplies whenever you're restocking, this video is going to be pretty helpful for you, so stay tuned. Alrighty, so before we actually get into very specifics, I want to give a little bit of just a shift in the way you're thinking about some things. So a lot of things when you're talking about environmental issues, there are the 3 R's that pretty much everybody knows: reduce, reuse, recycle, okay? And most people are really only familiar with the last one and a little bit the middle one, but not so much the first one, which the first one is reduce. So what do I mean by that when I say reduce? Well, what I mean is there are these pins where I work, and I know this might seem like a random weird tangent, but stick with me, I promise it's gonna make sense. At my work we have these pens and they work really well. I love the way they write, I love the way they sit in my hand, and maybe that sounds ridiculous, but when you're someone who is constantly like writing down notes or writing down memos or writing in general, if you write on a regular basis, you know what a good pen can do for you. So the pens at my work, they're pretty good, and because of that I've been able to keep up with the same pen at my office since the day I started working where I work now a year ago. And that's pretty awesome to me because that means that I'm reducing the amount of pens I had to have in the first place, right? So by keeping only one pen and not having to constantly replace it, I'm reducing the amount of pens I have. And that's where I want you guys to start with this going back to school essentials, haul, suggestions, whatever it may be, is that whenever I was in school, specifically like grade school, elementary, high school, you would go to your like local Walmart, at least that's what my parents did, and there were lists with just tons and tons of stuff on it that you needed to get for the school year. And a lot of times it was like you need a pack of like 24 pens, you need 16 pencils, you need the pack of 48 colored crayons, and it's like, for what though? You know what I mean? Like, that's so much when really you're only gonna need one. So keep that in mind when you're looking at a list of things that you think you need or that you don't already have, is let's try to reduce the amount of things that we have to begin with. That is the best option for the environment. Okay, so once you've adjusted your mentality of the less is more, then we can go ahead and get into the next steps. And the reason I say less is more is because you really can buy much more quality items that are going to last you much longer and are going to work much better when you only have to buy a small quantity of them. So as opposed to buying a pack of a dozen pens, you buy one that's maybe a little bit more, but then you're more inclined to keep up with it. That's kind of how I look at things. So I hope that you guys can do that, and once you have shifted your mentality in that way, I want to tell you to check a few places before you head to the store or before you buy anything online. Let's check our local thrift stores, because a lot of times they have pencils, pens, book bags, lunch boxes, things like that that you can buy secondhand as opposed to having to buy them new. And of course that's going to be preferable. Aside from thrift stores, a lot of times you can check your own house. I know my mom has an entire junk room, which is insane to me now, that she has an entire room dedicated to stuff that she does not use. I never want to be that person. I know that is like a normal thing in today's society, but yeah, I can't do that. Definitely please let me know. Let's do like a little survey thing. I'll put a poll up here and you guys can tell me, do you have a junk room or do you not have a junk room? And leave it in the comments below if you do and like what's in there. But anyway, check your nooks, crannies, your little drawers, everything to see if you already have a lot of the school supplies you need. I think chances are you probably have a bit of it. The next thing is, obviously we would like to reduce packaging. That's been a big theme within my last month, trying to do zero waste for the month of July. But a lot of times it's a little bit more important, at least in my opinion, to go for the eco-friendly products even if they come in some packaging. Now I'm still not a fan of plastic packaging, and I'm not going to recommend you buy eco-friendly things even if they come in plastic packaging, because I think there are always going to be better alternatives. But I think it's more important to look for the things that you're buying if they are sustainable, and then you can consider packaging, because if you're going to the store and just buying typical stuff that also comes in typical packaging, then you're not really, you know, like it's better to buy the more sustainable option even if it comes in packaging than to just buy the typical stuff. That's my point. There's going to be a list to everything I mentioned today in the description box below. I will individually link all of the things, and I'm also going to include a link of the Amazon wish list I am going to make, and that's because that's where I typically shop. If I was going to be going back to school in any capacity, I would be shopping on Amazon, and that's simply because I find that online you have a lot more options, and most of the time you're going to be able to find the more sustainable options online, not in store. But if you are someone who just wants to go to your typical store like a Walmart or a Target or an Office Max to get your school supplies, I'm also going to attempt to do a vlog of me going to each of those stores. Hopefully it'll come out maybe like within the next week, of me showing you how you can differentiate between certain different types of products. Yeah, thumbs up if you want to see that. But I think, like I said, there are better options if you order online, and specifically if you order through Amazon, you know you can ship it all in one box, cuts down on the shipping costs and all those sort of things. It comes from an Amazon fulfillment center, and it's much easier than anything else, I think. So what should we talk about first? Naturally, pens, right? You want to go with a pen that has a refillable piston or ink cartridge or whatever it may be. Some pens these days are just plastic and you can't get into them to change out the ink middle thing, so definitely don't purchase those little like big pens that are like one use and you're done with them. Definitely skip out on those. The least you can do is buy a pen where you can replace the thing in the middle and not have to throw away the plastic every time you need a new pen. Of course, my recommendation is to keep up with your pen, but beyond that, I found some options on Amazon that are made from recycled milk cartons. I found some other options that are just like fountain pens, like from back in the day. Kind of taking it back to basics with a lot of these things we're talking about, because that's how people used to do it in the old days before we had all of these plastic petrochemical products we're drowning in. People just used fountain pens. So if you want to get yourself one of those, that's a really good option. Next school supplies you want to consider is pencils. So there's a debate in my head, I don't know which would be better, to have one plastic pencil that you can constantly refill the lead in, or to go through a ton of the wooden pencils. Or maybe not a ton, but you can definitely keep one plastic pencil a lot longer than you could keep one wooden pencil because they run out. Either way, there are more sustainable options I found on Amazon, such as plastic pens that are made from recycled plastic, and wooden pens that you can plant to grow herbs. How freaking cool is that? But whether you're going to go with a wooden pencil or a mechanical pencil, you're probably going to want to get an eraser, because every single pencil I have ever owned, obviously the eraser is going to run out far before your lead does. So I found some options on Amazon that are made from recycled rubber, and I think that is a super cool option. Of course, if you can get them from your local store with no packaging, that's also going to be a good option. But if you want to take it that extra step further and get the recycled option, I found some for you. Next thing I know I used to use a lot in college is highlighters. Highlighters are the epitome of my existence because I always needed them and I always had to throw them away. I was also always having issues with them drying out. It frustrated me to no end, but what's really cool is I found out that there is an option for pencil highlighters. They are neon colors and they will stand out on your page just like a highlighter will, and you won't have to deal with the frustration of your highlighter drying out or it being something that is plastic that you have to throw out. And I think that's a really cool option, and they seem to work really well. Moving on from your really basic supplies, we'll talk about notebooks. Now, I personally really like to buy the decomposition books, and you can buy those at Target. I bought them at Target before, but you can also buy them on Amazon, of course. They're made from recycled materials and they can also be recycled, and I think they can be fully compostable. I think everything in the folder in the notebook is compostable, so that's a really good option, as opposed to the typical ones you find with the metal binding that I'm confident cannot be recycled, and if it can in your particular city, you're lucky, because I know that where I used to live we couldn't recycle them even if we took them apart. So I would say it would be best to avoid those altogether. When you're shopping for notebooks, skip out on those. Get the ones that are binded by cardboard and stuff like that. If you're the type of person who is too cool for a notebook and you need a binder like I was when I was in middle school, then you can go for an option like an aluminum binder. This is going to last you much longer than the typical cardboard ones that I used to use when I was in school, and as well as you can decorate it yourself with different types of stickers and stuff like that. Because in school I used to buy the fabric ones, but they only stayed cool enough for me for like a year. But But if you get an aluminum one, then you can put whatever you want over the top of your last design each and every year, and it'll last you a long time because obviously aluminum isn't going to break down as fast as cardboard or plastic or anything like that. I specifically actually found one on Amazon made from recycled aluminum, which I think is going to be a really cool option for you guys. Okay, next thing is going to be backpacks. Now, when I was in college, I wanted to buy myself a really like cool backpack that was made from recycled materials or something like that, and there are options like that, backpacks made from like recycled rice bags, recycled canvas material and stuff like that, and that's great if you can find one that will last you. But the problem is the one that I bought for my first year in college didn't last me. It fell apart and it was very unfortunate, and then I had to look myself in the face and say, well, Shelby, maybe the better option is reduce, right? So buy a really good backpack that's going to last me a long time. So instead of buying the backpacks that were made from recycled canvas, I went and bought myself a JanSport backpack. I wish I still had that backpack. I donated it after I graduated, but I actually had drawn like windmills, you know, like that generate electricity on the front of my backpack, and there was a recycle sign, and there was all kinds of cool stuff on my backpack. And that's actually how me and Madison met, because she noticed my backpack and she thought it was cool, and she came over to me to compliment me on it. So yeah, you can get yourself a JanSport backpack. I will link it below. If you're gonna buy one, please buy it with my link. They will last you for a really long time. You can draw on them and customize them yourself, and you don't have to worry about your backpack falling apart on you because they will last you years. That's gonna be it for the really basic type of school supplies. And while I was doing my research, I found a really cool brand called Onyx Green, and they have a lot of different school supplies. That's all they make, is school supplies made from recycled materials. So I will leave them linked below for anything that you might need that I didn't mention, such as like scissors. They have those made from recycled materials. They have everything you could need, folders, binders, everything, and I'll just link them. They have really cool stuff. But to get more into the upper grade levels, things that you won't need until you're like at least in high school, talking about things like TI calculators. I know that was something that I needed when I was in high school, and they're really expensive, so definitely don't buy one new, you guys. Do not buy a TI 84, is that what they use? Texas Instrument calculator. Don't buy one new. Check Craigslist, check Facebook groups, and then check Amazon for refurbished and used ones. I'll leave you a link below to where I bought my most recent one on Amazon. Save you a lot of money, and also it's reducing because you didn't have to buy a new one. Wait, it's not reducing, that's reusing, but still a better option than buying a new one. Another thing that you're gonna need probably by the time you're in high school, and definitely by the time you're in college, is a laptop. Now I can show you Greenpeace's assessment here on the screen, and they say that these other brands are the most sustainable options, that they last the longest, they have the best type of internal organs and things like that, and I will list each of these below where you can get them refurbished or used, and that's going to be my recommendation with any computer you buy. Don't buy it new. There are people who sell their laptops really soon, like a year after they get one, because they want to get the next coolest one, and as frustrating as that is a really good deal for you, because things like that depreciate the second you walk out of the store. So if you're in the market for a laptop, make sure you go to Amazon and search for refurbished items like that. Again, I will have them linked in the description box below. Please check my links if you're going to be searching for these types of things. I've already done all the work for you. Take advantage of it, please. I personally have a MacBook Air that I bought from Amazon refurbished, and that means that someone had it had an issue. They sent it back to Apple, and then they fixed it up, and then they're reselling it basically. I think that's going to be the best option for your wallet, but you're still going to be able to have that warranty through Apple. That way, if anything happens to your laptop, you don't have to purchase another one. Now, talking about the social aspects of these sort of things like technology and tech, computers, stuff like that, obviously they have some sketchy practices because they are manufactured a lot of times in areas where people are not treated fairly, but that is a separate issue from the environment. And not only that, but if you can just get you one machine that is going to last you for a long time, Madison's MacBook that she has right now, she's had for 6 years, and I think that's going to be the best option, as opposed to maybe buying a Dell, even though I'm pretty sure they're manufactured in some pretty sketchy areas of the world too. But I went through about 3 Dells before I bought my MacBook, and that's just really wasteful, and that means that someone had to remake my Dell 3 times. And I still just think that buying one machine that can last you an extended period of time is the best option all around. Alright, and then last thing I wanted to talk about that I love to talk about is Food. I did a lot of zero waste videos on food last month, but specifically if we're talking about taking your lunch to work or to school or to university, I would highly recommend you guys getting a eco lunchbox. That's something that's on my wish list. I should have included in my zero waste wish list from a little bit ago, but they are a really cool company who makes stainless steel lunch boxes, and they have bento boxes. These are the ones that I am specifically recommending to you guys because you can keep your salad separate from your pasta, separate from your fruits and stuff like that, and it's just really cool. I'm going to get one soon. I keep telling myself that. But aside from that, I would recommend staying away from plastic Tupperware. It's not going to help you guys. You need to get yourself a glass or some stainless steel Tupperware. The plastic ones break down much faster, and not only that, but this is again the thing with quality over quantity. Yes, glass containers are going to be a bit more expensive, but that also means you're going to keep up with them. My mom has gone through so much plastic Tupperware in the time that I lived with her when I was a kid, and I have kept up with the glass Tupperware that I have now for years. So definitely invest in some good glass or stainless steel Tupperware, and if you're sending kids to school with it, stainless steel is probably going to be your best option. Other than that, make sure you have a really good reusable water bottle. I recommend Hydro Flask. It can literally keep your water cold for 48 hours. That is not a joking claim that they have. It is an absolute fact, and I will make an entire video time-lapsing that and like showing it to you if you guys really want to see that. Definitely recommending a Hydro Flask to you guys. It'll be linked below. It's a great investment. I've had mine for years. Last thing is going to be a stasher bag. I talked about this in my wish list, and they're just little silicone bags that are reusable bags instead of Ziploc bags that are really wasteful, and obviously going to be a much better option if you can get a reusable one for things like chips or nuts or pretzels or whatever it is that you're throwing in your lunch that you want to put in a Ziploc baggie. Get you a few stasher bags, invest the money up front, and you never have to buy Ziploc bags again. Yes, very good idea and much better for the environment. Last but not least, the links to all of the things I mentioned today will be in the description box below. Please take advantage of them because I've done all of the work for you. I really hope this helped you guys out. I know a lot of you guys are wondering about stuff like this, so give me a thumbs up if you did like it, and if you want to see the vlog of me going to Target, Walmart, and Office Max to attempt to see what better options there are between the things that are available just in regular stores. But again, I think there are much better options that you can get online. So that's going to be it for me today, you guys. Remember to go follow me on Instagram if you're not already. And remember, until next time, create the peace.